as you were describing that, it reminded me that the book Impact Players and that research and the, subsequent book came out of a frustration of a company investing in one side of the talent combination, which is like great coaching and great contributorship put together. And I remember I was in a workshop and one of the leaders, an engineering leader, he's like, "Yeah, I want to be a multiplier. Like, hey, thanks for all this. I want to be a multiplier, but you can't multiply zero." And I mentioned this in the Impact Players book. And of course, I think he's talking about or insinuating that he's got a bunch of dummies on his team. And, those are fighting words for me. And
Yeah.
I'm riled up and I'm about to give him this big lecture about, oh, no, no, you've got incredible talent on your team. You just don't see it and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, like, I get it. I need to show up to my team with the right kinds of mindsets and practices as a leader, but so does my team.
Hmm.
Like I can't do this by myself. I
Hmm.
can't be the sole
Hmm.
like energy source for bringing out great
Yeah.
capability. That's got to come from within the team as well. And I think that's one of the things that tipped me off to what happens when you either focus on just contributors, like, hey, show up this way, or just leaders. And I think it not only misses these powerful synergies,
Mhm.
like one of our favorites, but it can build resentment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the other side's not doing their part
Hmm.
of this deal.
Yeah, for sure. Especially where, of course, in most organizations, there's going to be a lopsided investment into leadership development versus contributor development. And that can really lead to this sense that, well, maybe they're not trying to develop as hard as I am. And so there is this, if we're really deliberate about putting two things together that are better together, like being so deliberate about putting chocolate with peanut butter and popcorn with pickles, then all of a sudden you get this explosion where everybody's experiencing something that on a completely different level, and it generates a kind of an excitement in teams that I don't think is possible otherwise. So let's jump into this, Liz.
Well, we're going to share five of these power pairings, killer combinations, things that are better together. We're going to start with a practice that we talk about a lot, which is a leadership practice of giving someone 51% of the vote. I can't count how many times I have articulated the power of this practice of like, if you want people to take ownership, you should give them 51% of the vote and 100% of the accountability. It's a way of signaling like, you, not me, are in charge of this. So we talk about this practice, give 51% of the vote, but this can fall flat if you don't also help people be good at what?
Yeah, they've got to take ownership. What you need is for contributors, if they're going to be given a chance to own something and have 51% of the vote, then what you need is you need contributors that take ownership of the problem, the challenge, the project. And the more they take ownership, the more natural the accountability equation occurs. Let's just talk about it for a second. What happens when a leader gives someone 51% of the vote, and then that person steps in and takes ownership of this assignment, project, whatever it is?
Well, it's going to signal to me as the owner, which is I just made an offer to someone. I just told them that they could be in charge and that I would take a minority position, and they're stepping up and into it. So it's going to incent me to do more of this, to like dole out true ownership to people around me. Because if someone doesn't step in and receive that ownership, it's going to make me suspicious of these practices.
Yeah, and it can also, I mean, I think about the times where I reflect back on the scenario where I micromanaged a little bit. Definitely, I tend to be a rescuer if people struggle. It's hard for me not to rush in and save the day. Um, and so I remember there was one particular team that I was leading that the first time that I tried to give ownership to this new team, and I didn't know any of them, uh, I tried to give ownership to this individual. He didn't step in and take it. And I think I kind of made an assumption that the rest of the team was that way. And before you know it, 6 months later, I'm practically just burnt out because I've got all these projects that I'm taking ownership. They don't feel like that I've given them an opportunity to shine. And so I made this assumption off of this first experience that because they didn't step up and take ownership, that maybe they were all that way. And then before you know it, now you have me, a blunted leader, overwhelmed, struggling, and feeling a little sorry for myself and a little judgmental towards them.